We messed up our tomato garden. Stay tuned if you want to see how.
Okay, so we are going to preface this video by saying that we got into gardening, and the reason we got into market gardening, which was selling our produce, is because we grew so many tomatoes. We didn't know what to do with them.
And great, beautiful, big tomatoes. We love them.
Didn't have any issue ever for probably 10 years, you think?
A while, yeah.
Yeah, probably about 10 years. And then last year we killed our tomatoes with kindness, we think. I mean, it's a lot of variables to get to where what happened last year. We had tons of blossom end rot, and
we were watering too much.
We think we were pretty dang sure we're watering too much, because the year before we had a record harvest, and then the next year we had epic failure, which had a lot of fruit, but all the fruit had blossom end rot. So we think that we were overwatering. We were watering with our poly pipe with 1 gallon per hour drip emitters, 43 minutes a day times three times a day. So that's just too much water. I think they're too saturated constantly because it was a really hot, droughty year, and we just overcorrected. So blossom end rot is caused by multiple factors. One is inconsistent watering. So if you're just like hand watering your tomatoes and you do it like whenever you think about it and not do it on a regular enough basis, that could cause it. Another reason would be lack of calcium in the soil, which we do not have because we've soil tested and we know that the calcium is in our soil and available for tomatoes. And the other one is overwatering, which I think we were doing last year, because we had tons of fruit, but they just all had blossom end rot. And it seems like certain years with certain varieties, you'll get some blossom end rot, and it's just kind of unavoidable. But last year was real bad for us, where it was just like inexcusable and kind of a total loss.
Yeah, I mean, we had tomatoes, don't get us wrong. We had tomatoes, but just the amount of tomatoes we should have been much greater.
With blossom end rot too, it's not a total loss as far as like edible and canning ability. Like we could still eat them and salvage them and stuff, but we can't sell them.
Yeah, if you just remove the blossom end rot portion of the tomato, which would be like the bottom half of the tomato, you can totally eat the top part. It's usually fine. It's usually really good, but yeah, unsellable. So this tomato right here has blossom end rot, and if you just cut off the blossom end rot portion, the top part of the tomato, will be a good tomato to eat, but you obviously can't sell this, but still good to eat, but not when you have a million of them and you can't can them or possibly use them all because you have so many that look like this.
So fast forward to this year, we decided we would isolate our tomato plants and only water them when they needed water, and therefore fix the problem. We thought the big thing is that we changed the water system delivery from poly pipe with drip emitters to drip tape. And we knew when we bought the drip tape that it didn't put out as much water, but we thought we were just going to watch the tomato plants and kind of follow their cues to see, if they started to wilt, then we would hit them with water, a good soaking, and then just kind of time it out like that. Hit them once in the morning, once in the afternoon or evening, and that would be good. They grew up really well through June into July and got tall, put on a lot of vegetative growth on, and then we left in July for a week, early July. I came back and a lot of the tomatoes had flowers that were just crispy and brown and not putting fruit on. And I didn't clue into it. Looking back on it now though, it was a clear sign that they were being underwatered with the heat, because in our climate here in July, it usually gets 90 degrees, 100 degrees, no rain, it's hot, it's dry. I should have ramped the water up on our timer. So I noticed the flowers were turning brown, and I didn't know really what to do, but I was really gun shy about turning the water up because I didn't want to have the same mistake as we had last year and overwater them. Even though I knew better,
we should know better.
I should have known that they weren't getting as much water as they should have, because the drip tape puts out a third of the amount of water as the 1 gallon per hour drippers do theoretically. Anyway, so I didn't adjust the water until August. We decided that we were going to just
mid-August.
Because we noticed that we didn't have nearly as much fruit as we normally do. Our plants were a little shorter than they should have been. I mean, like this plant's at the top of the cage. It's bushy. It looks good. But I mean, a lot of the fruit has blossom end rot again, and also blossom end rot, could be caused because of lack of water.
So another thing that we noticed when we realized that it was probably a lack of water this year is our plants would look like this. See that lower branch right there? See how it's crisping up and starting to die? A lot of our plants look like that. See how crispy that is? Once we started to notice that we were having a tomato issue, we were wondering, oh my gosh, is this blight? Do we have blight? Here's another one right up top. It's getting a little bit crunchy. But this is because we underwatered. These lower branches are trying to conserve water, and that is what they're doing. They're literally shriveling up and dying.
So in our climate, we've had good luck with running our 1 gallon per hour drip emitters 3 times a day, 30 minutes a day when it's hot and dry. And so we went with that formula and cranked our water up for these to mimic that. It's going to take 3 times that amount of time running to mimic that amount of water getting put on the plants.
With the drip tape.
With the drip tape, because it's 0.33 gallons per hour out of each emitter on the drip tape versus 1 gallon per hour on our poly pipe that we always use. And since we've done that, our plants really, they greened up. There's no more brown on the lower leaves. The fruit is
we did prune some of the brown off, but there's no additional brown.
Yeah, they look
crispy and happy.
They honestly look way better. The fruit is coming in, and we're running out of time, so it doesn't really matter. We're only going to have another week or 2 of growth, but we did what we can, and hopefully can salvage the season and learn from our mistakes. And that's what we do every year. And hopefully next year we don't have a big, massive failure again, and we can correct our mistakes, because this has been very frustrating.
Yep. So in all, I guess what this video is about check your gallons per hour on your drippers on whatever kind of irrigation system you're running, and also look at what your plants are doing. I know we should know that at this point, but we were scared because we overwatered before, and overwatering also led to cracked fruit for us, because then we got rain on top of it, and our tomatoes just like literally popped. They absorbed all that water and they cracked. So we were trying to avoid blossom end rot and cracked fruit. We were like, we're going to underwater, or we're going to water less. We thought it was not under. We thought it was a good amount. That was not a good choice. So I guess what I'm saying is this video is about check how much water is actually going onto your plants, and also look at your plants and see what they need, see what signs they're giving you, and research it, because it took us some researching to realize that those lower leaves browning, that meant that they were trying to conserve water.
It's hard to see the signs when you look at your plants every day, because you come out one day and look at the next, and the changes are minuscule. But yeah,
with you leaving out of town, that was when we really noticed it too. And then when we got back and we were walking around, and like we were excited to see what everything had done, and I'd been gone for a really long time, but it was like these plants don't look quite right. They look a little bit off. And then we started looking into it more, and then we really looked at all that, what was happening to the branches, and how there was a lack of fruit. We have varieties that are tried and trusted, we've grown them before, and they had not many tomatoes on them, and they should have been loaded. So I guess just read the signs. And I know with gardening it's kind of hard, because like for us in our short growing season in zone 4, we get like 1 shot.
Yep.
And then it's like, all right, well, we'll try again next year.
Yeah. So. One other thing, just input that I say, I would like to tell anybody that's growing tomatoes here in our climate, we have no rain from July through August, virtually every year, and it's 90 degrees every day, and our daylight hours are probably about 15, 16 hours a day, and we do three 30-minute waterings from we do like 7, noon, and 4:30 in the afternoon, and that has always worked in the past. So I don't know, take it for what it's worth. If you want to try that, that's at a gallon per hour rate, and that's kind of what we're going to keep going with.
Yep. But we have had blossom end rot with that a little bit. But it's like some varieties are more susceptible.
That's what we've had success with.
But we have had success with it too. So it kind of depends on like a little bit of varieties as well.
Yeah. More than that is 45 minutes, 3 times a day we had major issues.
Yes.
And I think less than that, I don't think you're giving enough water.
Yeah.
Not a deep enough soak.
Just because of how hot and dry it is in that peak season when things are really growing here in our particular climate.
Right.
We're in Montana, by the way. That's it for the video. Thanks for checking it out.
if you have any comments, pointers, or suggestions for us, we would sure like to hear them in the comments. If you want to see how our gardens end up coming out, please like and subscribe.
All right. Thanks so much for watching.